So in this cupboard I've got Jess the cat. This is my little apprentice for this job. Right guys, welcome back to the channel. You join me back on the flat. I've just started to chase some of the walls out. I bought a new chaser. I had a lot of recommendations, and the only reason I didn't go for one of those really expensive ones is because on a lot of site work, dust isn't really an issue. I know we should be using dust extraction, but it's not really an issue. Obviously in someone's flat that's finished, dust is an issue. So I'll show you what I've gone for, and to be honest, I'm actually really surprised. I've just done one, and I'll show you. So what I'm going for is my little Neil Fisk, and what I've just bought is this Titan. It was about £100. It can do depths of up to 40mm and 30mm width. As you can see, it's just absolutely munched through this wall effortlessly. Anyway, and that's what it's created, and that is actually stuff the Hoover won't pick up. You know when you first start and you kick it into the wall? Apart from that, it's sucked up most of the dust. It's got this little rubbery bit which the Hoover just sticks in there, and then it just, because of the suction, it just holds on. So I'm going to crack on with the rest of these chases. Obviously I've got to dig these out after. This only does 30mm width, so what I'm going to have to do is, there's my line, and I'll have to run up the other cutter on that one there, which is fine, doesn't bother me. Yeah, so I'm going to crack on with all these chasing, get all this done, and then I'll report back in a minute. I've just started this, so let's say this has taken me a minute. What I'll do is I'll slash all these out, and then I'll come back and I'll tell you exactly how long all these chases took me in this flat. As a tester, I am all sheeted up now, ready for chasing. This chase has actually surprised me, it's just really good. So smashing through these walls easy. Because this is an existing socket, I've got mineral there. I don't really want to chop the mineral, so I've gone to the side, even though it is going to be a double, so it's in the zone. So it's eating the walls, chasing the switches out. That one, you can see the mineral is there. I've actually managed to go this side of it. Sorry, the mineral sat inside of the chase, so... focus? No? Anyway, so it's sat inside the centre of there, so I've managed to go up either side of it. I can probably chisel that out and get a piece of mineral out the wall now. Just before I start making a load more noise, I picked up one of these DeWalt SDS fitment chisels. These are fantastic for chiselling out red brick. It's not as harsh as a normal spade bit, but that chisely bit there is fantastic. Not very expensive, about £9 I think, but yeah, really good. DeWalt, not sure what it was called. Very good. So I just found something quite interesting. This is the old mineral box. This would be the earth, which would bring an earth into here. And look at this, they had no zones back in the day. He's just looped that straight over there. The cutter's gone straight through it, and it just loops down there and just disappears somewhere else. So that was the standard back then. The cable and box is older than me. There you go. So that's what mineral insulated is. It's like a copper sheath with two cores running through it and a load of powder just to separate those two cores, but you can see how close they do run to each other. Look, still perfectly good. The only thing that does go are these pots on the ends, but these were probably fine. But look, there's the little pots. When you're faced with the absolutely difficult task of a double socket being right on the back of this one, the only thing to do is to get out the expanding foam. A lot of people ain't going to like this, but a lot of the time this is the only way that you can stick boxes in the wall. If you've got hollow block walls, there's no fixing whatsoever. So you either sand and cement them and wait ages, or you do this and an hour later you can cut the excess off, the box is nice and stuck, and you can get your cables in. Right guys, next day, clearly, did a load of chasing in these rooms, started to fill some holes with a bit of foam, and then I'm going to give them a skim over with some hard wall. Client's actually said he wants some Cat 6, so I've got some cable here. I've got to put 2 of these in from the new BT point, which is going to be in there. Let me just shut this toilet up. Something else that doesn't work that the builder left. There we go. So they want a desk position here, so 1 Cat 6 there, and they want 1 Cat 6 at this position. And this is the only room I've got left to chase, this one and this one here. So got all my cables now into the new positions, drilled out the back, grommeted in. So yeah, it's looking good actually. So today I've actually got the guy coming to board the ceiling, so I've got to quickly get these Cat 6s through this ceiling and this extra cable for this ring main, which is quite simple, through this ceiling over here, and I've just got to basically drop it into this cupboard, because that at the minute is end of line of radial. So if I get another leg to there, then that makes this kitchen a 32 amp. So it's a fair comment from people. Basically, if you plug anything else in, yeah, I reckon the circuit probably would be overloaded, but as it is now, it's fine. But as you can see, she's bought a new toaster, kettle, coffee machine, so yeah, 32 amp ring main will be ample for that circuit. Right, as you can see, I've tried to keep the data cables that I've installed away from the power. There is a measurement of 300, so what I've done is clip it along here, and then I've gone through where I put that bonding cable, and at the minute they're just hanging out the ceiling here. And what I'm going to do is probably drill a hole here and then drill outside, and then I'm going to probably put a saver chase, put an external Copex down the wall. You can get an external grade stuff, so you can clip this direct. This is internal. So I'll put a conduit on the outside wall, down, box to there, and then a long box there behind the TV. It's just going to save a load of chasing in this flat that's finished, you know. Morning guys, so a lot's changed since you just saw last filmed. We got little baby home, tired, blah blah blah. Anyway, things are all good. So thanks for all the kind messages and stuff I've received on here and on Instagram. I really appreciate it. So apparently the guys finished boarding, so we're going to go and have a look, and then we're set up, and then we're going to get this first fixed today. Yeah. It's hard with one hand. Good lad. Good lad. Good lad. Good boy. Great job. Let's have a look. It's cleaned up, look. All boarded. New cables. Stunning. Oh, I'm so tired. Whew. Dirty, stinking, tired. All the chasing's done. Right, I'll flip the camera around. What I've done is I've given the chases a fill, hard wall. I went off, got some small capping, because some of these have only got 1 cable in. Boring. Don't need to show you that. They're all capped. They're all filled. I'm going to spin the camera around and show you what I've done. So here's going to be the new TV position. That was existing. I've added a new socket. That's going to be a coax and a Cat 6 RJ45 connector. Chased along. Old socket's gone. new socket and a Cat 6 again, RJ45, and then chase has been filled. Job done. Again here, chase is done, all filled, ready just for the, I think they're getting like a handyman painter and decorator just to give them a light sand fill, a slight filler and then sand. So that's all done in here. I've obviously got a ton of clearing up to do. I'm debating whether to just go home because I'm knackered and come back tomorrow and clean this up, but we'll see. I'll decide. Here is done. Cables are all capped and filled. Same in here. Cables are all capped and filled, etc. behind the bed. I don't really want to move these steps. And then in here I've just done this one, box double socket. That one was a single, that's gone, so double socket there. And then all my cables come up in 150 within that wall, and then they're going to go to the new fuse board that's going to go there. I've just disconnected the BT point, pulled the cable out, it's rerouted it down into this little cupboard, and then I've added a cable in from this little cupboard up to here. So BT can come in, and there's a cupboard on the outside, they can do their bit there, and then the master socket will go up in here. So in here now I've got just the Cat, 2 Cat 6 cables, I've got a telephone cable, and I've got 2 cables. This is the radial in, radial out, which is going to drop down back entry into that socket. And I'm also going to put a double socket in here for the BT gubbins. And this is the fan isolator cable in and cable out, which will just come down and then be put in a box here surface. Well, as I've got a ton of clearing up to do, I'm going to just crack on with that, get the flat completely blitzed. And then tomorrow, they've actually won the lights in the cupboards now, so I'll show you that. It's going to be quite interesting, so I'll do that tomorrow. Morning. Shall we go and see if the cleaning fairy has come in? I just want to clarify one thing. You saw me chasing out the walls yesterday. I had my... it doesn't look like I've got any ear defenders on, but I've got those little DeWalt plugs in. I'll show you them. I had an FFP3 and I also wear a black sort of balaclava. It looks a bit weird, but works for me. I've just picked up one of these to try out. I don't know if anyone has got one of these. Give me a comment down below if you've tried these. These got the replaceable filters and the little bit you can test on the side. So I've tried that. I've got a load of materials. I'm going to get that in and we'll have a look. Yes, I did stay late yesterday. 3 hours cleaning up. Spotless. Everything is now spankingly spotless clean. These are the earplugs that I've been using. Very good. I think you get, yeah, 50 in there. I've just picked up a few bits, screws. I've used all that other tub nearly, so I picked that little set up. You get this nice little set there, and all just some bits. So behind these lights and these smoke detectors, I hate it when the cables are just floating in the wall. So what I'm actually going to do is behind the lights is fit those. I don't know if anyone's ever used them, but it just gives you like a little bit more of a gap for the cables rather than them floating in like mid-air. It will just go in there. Obviously that hole cut as it might be a bit, no, it does fit just. So that will go in there, and then the cables will come in, connections in there, and then I might probably put a box lid on it and flex it out to the light or whatever. So that'll go behind the smoke detector and the light fittings. And it's also nice if you've got a pull cord. If you've got a pull cord on there, it's nice because that is then flush rather than the pull cord having that horrible sort of pattress. It sits flush to the ceiling and it all sits inside there, so it's quite nice as well. Anyway, what I'm planning on doing today, I've just picked up a new fan. Used these ones before. These are really nice. I've just picked up 2 little bulkhead lights, robust. I've used these before. These are good for the 2 cupboards. And then I'm also waiting on 2 standalone motion sensors and an LED strip to go in the wardrobe. So that's what I was going to plan on doing today, but I might not get it finished because I've got to go off and get the bits at 12. But yeah, I just picked up a load of bits really. Picked up these LAP grids that you can make up your own. So one will have a blank and one an RJ45 module. The other one's going to have the TV aerial and the RJ45 connector there. And then in the cupboard, I've got 2 RJ45 connectors that my Cat 6s will go into, and then I've got some patch leads that will come out of there and go into there. home hub to give them the wide connections at the points that they want. Just while I was waiting for the plumber to come up, I've just got these cables in and out. What I managed to do is there's an old coax on the outside, so I've cable tied to that. That's one of the Cat 6 cables. And then I've rerouted the aerial cable, and the other Cat 6 comes along. It's like a sill underneath with a BT black incomer, so I've cable tied to that. Come up to here, took that skirting off and just splodged that on for the minute. But someone else is going to have to sort that out, but that's good enough for now. I'll cut it and put some painter's mate on that. But yeah, so I can get these shortened down now. At least they're in the boxes now ready. So as I've done the initial fill on all the chases and stuff, I know the guy who's coming back to do the final fill and the painting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make off all these ends, and I'm just going to leave them loose. They're not going to be live, I'm just going to leave them loose. He's going to sand all this down, second fill it all, and then I'll leave them loose, and then I'll just come back and screw them. At least I can do my dead testing and etc., and just make sure that no cables have been, you know, hit when the boards have gone up. So I'm confident they haven't, but you never know. So at least I can do all my testing and get all the ends away. To be fair, these are all right, these little connectors, look. Very simple to do. Yeah, nice little modules, and you get the blanks from as well, look. So I'm just going around doing a little bit of second fixing, just making it look quite tidy actually. I won't put this on yet obviously because these are loose. The only people coming in here are workmen, which are competent, but it is a plumber and a plasterer, no disrespect. Some of the switches, obviously I've kept the old boxes. So neutrals, some of them are wired to neutral to the switch, so you've obviously got to put your neutrals in a connector. That will be my switch wire. That's just a feed. This is end of line actually, so it's just the last cable. These boxes don't have an earth as such, an earth lug. So what I'm going to have to do is put my 2 earths in. What I'm going to do is put them in like a crimp, and then I'm going to self tap to the back of the box. So at least when I screw the faceplate screws, they'll have an earth which will carry through on these. But I'm just reusing all these because these are just plastic, so they have no earth connection apart from the screw needs to be earthed, which will be earthed via the 3.5mm there. So I've changed my mind a little bit as I do when I'm going through stuff in my head. So what I've done is individually sleeve the earths. They've gone in a Wago, and then I'm actually just going to do a fly lead to the back box. And then if you want to, for testing, you can disconnect what you want, undo these, take out which earth you want, and then individually put it back in. So it just makes it a bit easier. You can disconnect the box from the circuit basically. So I don't generally use this click mode brand. But as I'm reusing a lot of the old sockets, they're basically brand new. This is what the builder / electrician fitted. I've just bought 10 more of these because I'm short, because a lot of the stuff I've replaced was singles, so it's going to be all doubles. £2.40 each, so it's not too bad. I've ordered 10, so 24 quid. At least all their sockets will match. Even the ones in the cupboards, I'm going for the click as well. So I don't often use many of these ones. But because I've wired my neutrals, come on, oh god, because I've wired my neutrals to this switch, I'm going to end up with 5 blues, because each one of these goes to a light, LED, light 1, light 2, and I've got my feed in and feed out. So 6 terminals that will sit in the back, and these are quite deep, so that shouldn't impede on anything. But yeah, I don't use them very often, but when you need to, you've got them here, and on here it does tell you the ratings and stuff. Look. Just a little tip, if you've got multiple switches coming into a switch box, don't cut them too short and label them up. So the next bloke comes in, he can identify that brown one, if there's a problem with anything, he can say, oh, that switch there should be doing that one. And regards to this MK stuff, this is fine to me. I know this is probably made in Malaysia, maybe. Yeah, but it's still good quality, and this is nice. I like the commons all on the bottom. Sometimes they cross over like this, but they're all along the bottom there, look. So they're all my feeds, feed in, feed out, looped across the switches, and then each one of these is a switch wire that goes off to its relevant light. Right, I am back. I've just picked up my remaining items, 2 surface mounted PIR sensors. That's for the igniter on the hob. And I've got a little LED
light to go inside the wardrobe, 4 patch leads for my RJ45s, and 10 clip double sockets.
Right, bedroom sockets are now second fixed. There and there. That's the socket that I put the expanding foam on. Can't even tell, can you really? Once that's back and it's all made good, it's going to be completely fine. Right, moving on to this little job in here. This was inevitable because they didn't batten this ceiling down for me. And on this other side of this wall, there's like a beam, so I couldn't drill here, so I had to drill in this cupboard. So basically, I've got this is the leg of the radial running through, which will be trunked, and then I've got a feed in and a feed out on the lighting circuit here for a light in this cupboard. I've just drilled a hole through there into the other cupboard, and then there's no switches because it's getting surface mounted PIR. So all I'm doing first is just putting some trunking in these cupboards, run around high level, and then I'll do all the wiring, and I'll show you after what I've done. Right, so rather than just fixing this light to the surface, what I've done is, I couldn't get hold of the round patches, but I've got these little shallow 16mm single back boxes, and what will happen is the light will mount on the back of there, and then rather than like hacking out the light, the trunking will just run in, connections will come out the back as standard, like that, through that grommet there. Light will fix through to the concrete as normal, so it'll be spaced off, but then at least the trunking's got something to run into. But generally I would go for the round ones, but at short notice I couldn't get them, so I've just gone for square. So just a word of advice, if you are fitting a motion sensor PIR, rather than taking your feed to it and trying to get, look, all those cables in there, take your feed to a box. What I can do is do all my connections here, and I'll just wire a 3-core earth. So you'll have a live neutral earth and a switch line from here to here. That will bring this light on, and then I'll take a cable from here down this cupboard, and it's going to switch a light on here. So what I'll do is I'll crack on with this, get it all done, and I'll show you after. Well, just another little tip. When you are fixing these up, pay attention to where the adjustments are, because if you turn it that way to the wall, you're never going to be able to adjust it. So make sure you have these facing outwards, so you can just take that cap off, adjust your time and your lux levels quite easily there. So doing it this way, I've had to get my head torch on. It all comes in the back of this light. It's an LED panel, so there's no heat, and they have a deflector on the bottom here. That plugs into the light, and then this is my neutrals, my switches, my feed. So what I can do is now, if I want to come and do my testing, I can literally unplug the light, and then there's another cable that runs along here, which will come down here in a mini trunk, come to another box, and then what I'll do is I'll put some Wagos in here, and then when I do some insulation resistance testing, I can unplug all the LED lighting basically. Makes it nice and simple. But you get the idea now. The trunking runs behind, like so, and then the light is spaced off, like so. There we go. All the trunking's now been splodged, and it doesn't actually look that bad. If you imagine you're going to be stood back here, it's going to get painted white. He's going to paint all the trunking white anyway, so it will blend in, to be fair, pretty well. Right, so I got my shelf back in. That's all done up there now. Just doing this little LED light. This is just sitting along here. The only thing, this is so short. I've put the switch that way because I wanted to flex this side, but I've left it on, so I'm not going to tell her that switch is there. It's just going to come on with a PIR. This is so short, but that's clipped there now, goes up there, and then it's going to end up with a little one gang box there with a blank plate on. Right, that is this cupboard done. So basically that's just going to get a box lid on it. Trunking jumps up there, joins into that one, and then the light is under here, clipped around there, fixed to there. The other one, however, it's a lot damn easier. So I've got feed in, feed out. It's literally going to get PIR, bit of trunking, and a light on the ceiling. So that's easy, that one. I'm not going to do that today because it's getting a bit late, so got 99 hours of clearing up to do now. Right guys, that's me done on this video. Thanks for joining me again. I've probably got 2 days left here where I've got to do the fuse board, MK. Is everyone still fitting plastic? I've got a way of isolating the supply here. There is a switch, but I want to put a switch in that cupboard. I found the little mains room. Is everyone still fitting double pole 100 amp plastic, or are we going metal? Give me a comment down below. Is that still acceptable to put plastic the switch, you know, the mains switches in, just to kill the tails to the fuse board for future proofing it. Let me know, and I'll see you again. I've probably got 2 days left here, so yeah, a bit of second fixing. So I'll see you on the next one. Take care.